Hello, Aubrey. Have you stumbled upon anything amazing recently?
Yes, but I'm going to save it because I actually threw it into one of today's examples, and I'll share
Sweet.
then.
Perfect. That's perfect. Today, guys, we are going to give you 4 phrases for saying that you found something, especially if you found it by accident. Because how boring is are the verbs find or see? Those are usually the verbs that students would
Right,
use
or
when they're speaking, right?
discover? No, it sounds really formal, really, to say you discovered something. There are so many great
Sure.
phrasal verbs that are a lot more natural and informal.
Exactly. So today, guys, we are going to teach you 2 informal phrasal verbs that mean discover accidentally. And then in the second half of the show, we'll teach you 2 more formal phrases that mean the same thing. And you know what? When we were planning this episode for you guys today, it really made us think about this C1 course that we're making right now because the vocabulary that you will get in the C1 course, it's like you're learning today on the show. It's colorful, it's nuanced, it is sophisticated, right?
Yes, exactly. Textbooks will teach you discover and find, but you want to know how
Yes.
natives really speak English. And that's what we are teaching you, especially at the C1 level. You don't want to sound like a textbook.
Exactly. So keep your ears out, guys, for this new C1 course. It's coming soon. But let's get to this IELTS vocabulary today. So, what is our first phrase, Aubrey?
Yes. First is run across. So this just means to discover accidentally. Maybe on
Mhm.
part one, you're asked about your neighborhood. What could you say, Jess?
This could be a sentence anyone from Portland could say, all
Nice.
right? Just so you know. I could say, just yesterday I was out with my dog and I ran across this little free library I've never noticed before. And then of course I would follow that by giving details about this free library. Aubrey, do you know what I mean by
Yes.
free
Yes,
library? Do you have
because
those?
I wanted to buy one on Amazon and they are more expensive than you would think.
Oh, really?
I was like, I would love to have one in my front yard, so that people
Yeah.
could stumble upon it and run across it and just grab a book, maybe leave a book or two. It's the best idea, but they're kind of pricey, even the little ones.
I'm surprised. I never thought about who's paying for these things. But these are scattered in neighborhoods all over Portland. And they basically look like huge birdhouses.
Yes,
You
they're
know what
so
I mean?
cute.
They're so cute. And then inside it's just like a bunch of books and people just leave and trade books whenever they want. And I love
And
them.
now
They're
you
so
know
cute.
whoever puts that up, like, they have paid a little bit of it makes me respect them even more that they're like, "It's worth it. I'm gonna put this to invest in my neighborhood."
I love it. I am so proud of those
Yes.
people. All right, so that was run across, right? And then if you're telling a story about the past, which you would usually be doing with this, you would say, I ran across. Okay. All right, what is the next
Yes.
phrase?
Next is pick up on, which this is more something we like realized, we noticed
Yeah,
often, right?
yeah.
So maybe you're asked about work in part one, and you could say, to be honest, one of my coworkers is quite lazy. It wasn't until recently that I picked up on this. She looks like she's working hard at her desk, but really she's just scrolling through her Facebook feed. Oh, we've all had those coworkers. Like, how do you get through
There's
this?
a lot of people like
Yeah,
that. Nobody that listens to this show,
never, never.
though. You guys are all hard workers. So this is a tricky phrasal verb and therefore impressive because there isn't one but two prepositions, right?
Right.
Pick up on. So make sure you put those in the correct order and you get those right.
Yeah, if ever you're thinking you're going to say you noticed something, you realized something, if you can instead say pick up on, students don't use this a ton. The examiner will be impressed by that phrasal verb.
Totally. Yeah. So run across is more like you physically see or experience something, right?
Right.
And like you said, pick up on is more like in your brain, you noticed it, you realized it. You can use this when you're describing stories, books, movies, TV as well. You could be like, like around the third episode, I picked up on the fact that this person was actually the murderer.
Right. Foreshadowing to say, I picked up on that. I
Yeah.
noticed that foreshadowing where they're setting
Yes.
something up for the future.
Okay, now let's get to some more formal phrases that mean discover or notice. The next is, well, these are all phrasal verbs, but the next is a little more formal, right?
Yeah.
Happen upon. This is quite fancy. I realize the vocabulary doesn't sound fancy, but it is, guys. Like, this is a formal way to say, like, oh, I accidentally found this. I happened upon a little free
Right.
library.
And we might even use
Okay.
that intonation, right? Because we
Yeah.
recognize we sound a little fancy. We would maybe say it in just a
Yeah.
normal sentence, like what I'm the example I'm about to give you, but we might say like, "I happened upon."
Definitely a high intonation for
Yes,
this phrasal verb.
for sure.
Yeah. So in part two, if you're asked to describe something you recently purchased, Aubrey, what could you
Yeah,
say?
I was looking for Halloween decorations for my front yard, and I happened upon an 8-foot skeleton that was on clearance for so cheap. I really lucked out.
I love those. I have a neighbor who has like a 10-foot, maybe bigger skeleton in their front yard. They put it up last Halloween and never took it down. And that giant skeleton is there all the
Do they
time. And
dress
I
it for each
absolutely love it.
holiday? They're putting, like, a Santa costume on it maybe, or they just leave it up as a
I wish.
skeleton?
That'd be awesome if they put Christmas tree lights like on
It's
the
hanging
skeleton.
Christmas tree lights on the house. That'd be awesome.
I would love it. Okay, so to happen upon, this is especially useful if you're describing like a trip or shopping, right? Like Aubrey did, and you accidentally find something, right? The next phrase also is used in exactly the same way, right? You're out, you're doing stuff, and you accidentally see something or find something. And this phrase, used in the title, is stumble upon. And this is more common than happen upon,
Yes.
but I would say still
Yes,
impressive.
I agree. They both do still sound a little more formal. We don't use them
Yeah.
as often in just day-to-day conversations, but you definitely can use this all over the speaking exam, right? Part 1,
Oh, yeah.
part 3, just the rest of the vocabulary in your answer will be either a little more informal or formal. Let's give a part 1 example here. Imagine you're asked about a TV show you're watching. I could say, "I stumbled upon a TV show the other day and it is fantastic. I had been needing a new show to binge, so I'm super stoked."
I do get really excited when I
Oh,
stumble
yeah.
upon a really quality show, right? Right now, I'm in between shows to watch and like I'm a little thirsty for some content.
Especially if no one has recommended it and you just hit play, like you're
Totally.
just stumbling upon it, browsing, it's the best, and then you get to tell everyone about
It's
this new show.
It's so satisfying. It's so satisfying. Okay, and then we could use this same phrase in part 3. Say you're asked about the topic of travel. You could talk about how it's better not to plan everything, right? We could say, I prefer not to plan my vacations, actually. I like to have a general itinerary for sure, but not like minute by minute. I mean, how else would you stumble upon local places that are not even in the guidebooks?
Yes, nice, right?
Mm.
This is so perfect where you can share. You're not even saying you stumbled upon something. This chunk to say, like, how else could you stumble upon? Then you could finish that with anything new museums,
Yeah, totally.
exciting, beautiful places. And this is more of like a hypothetical. If you're talking about traveling somewhere you want to go, you could say anything would be exciting to stumble upon.
Yeah, that's a good note. I love it. So guys, remember to keep your eyes and ears out for our new C1 course coming very soon. We're super proud of it. And let's sum up the 4 phrases as the takeaway
I have
today.
to
So
pause
I'll do
really
the
quick because this is such a funny
yeah,
expression to say, like, keep your eyes and ears, and you're saying out, and maybe is that
I know.
like, I've heard eyes peeled, ears open, maybe? Do we
Okay,
say out
so
too?
yes,
Maybe.
what I'm doing here, I'll explain
I
it.
need
I'll
to hear
explain
it.
it. So, with the phrase actually is keep an eye out for something. It means
Right,
like watch for something,
right.
right? So, since you guys listen to us, you don't watch us all the time unless you're watching this on YouTube.
You can't
I
keep an eye
just
out.
I just switched it and I put ear in there. So,
Very
yes, that is
clever.
my own personal
It's funny
phrase.
because we have one for, like, every body part, right? Keep your
I
eyes
know.
open, your ears eyes peeled, ears open. It's weird.
Yeah. Anyway, so today, guys, you learned four amazing phrasal verbs for discover or find or notice. So run across, it's more informal. It's good for when you're doing an activity and you find something accidentally. Pick up on, also a little informal. That's when you notice in your mind, right? You realize something. And then what were the last two,
And the last
Aubrey?
two are a little more formal, happen upon and stumble upon. They mean the same thing. They mean you just discover something accidentally, usually when you're out and about.
Yes, awesome. Or scrolling through Netflix.
That too, right?
Okay, guys, thank you for listening today. And if you're curious about our online course, go check it out, allearsenglish.com/KEYS. And we'll be back on Friday.
Awesome. See you Friday.
Bye.
Bye.